We got our flights in the database again, and now let me dive a bit deeper into how we can find data. Thus far, we always used this way of finding data, find with no arguments. Now, just as you can filter for specific records or documents when deleting or updating, you can also do so when finding. So I can access my flight data here. Let me quickly clear this to make it a bit easier to read. And instead of passing nothing, you can pass a document to it, which will be interpreted as a filter for your collection. And you can filter for anything that makes sense. You could filter for a name equal to max. But of course, this returns nothing because in our collection we got these two flights and there is no name field in there. But what we can do, of course, is we can use flight data and find all flights that are, let's say, intercontinental. So we use that key here. We do so by adding a document, then the name, and this can be wrapped by quotation marks, but it doesn't have to. And then let's say I want to find all flights where this is true. This would be a valid filter. If I now pretty print this, which always is optional, just to make it easier to read, if I hit enter, now I get one flight, and this is this one flight, which is an intercontinental flight. Of course, this is a very useful feature because in pretty much every application you're creating, you are not always interested in all your data, but in a subset of the data, which you need for that specific web page you're showing to the user or that specific part of your mobile app. You're also not limited to simple queries like this. We could also find all flights with a distance greater than 10,000 kilometers. And for this, we just need to modify the syntax a bit more. It's easy to look for equal values. Distance 12,000 like this, that would be simple, and it gives us back this one flight, here just not pretty printed. But if we want to have a greater than check, we can do that too. And there we just need to pass another document or object. I'll use these words interchangeably. We need to pass another object as a value for distance. And here we again use one of these special operators provided by MongoDB. $GT, which stands for greater than. And no worries, you don't need to learn them by heart right now. GT does exist, $GT, and that means greater than. And then you enter the value which you want to have as a greater than value. So here we could enter 10,000. And let's also pretty print this to make it a bit easier to read. And we get this one flight which has a distance greater than 10,000. The other flight had a distance of 950. And therefore, if I modify this to look for all flights with a distance greater than 900, we actually get back both flights. So this is, of course, another very useful feature. Now let me close this lecture or end this lecture by showing you find one with this example. So I'm looking for flights with a distance greater than 900 kilometers. If I switch it from find to find one, and I remove pretty here, because pretty is not supported on find one, I get back only one flight, the first flight that matched my criteria. And that makes sense because find one only gives me back one element. So if I want to find all, I should use find. If I'm only interested in the first matching element, find one is the solution. The important is it will still respect that filter, but then not look for all matching elements, but only the first matching element.